My name is Terry Gioma, and today we're going to go over the staff reimbursement policy. So first we'll start with some rationale, then we'll go into what you can and cannot get reimbursed for, and we'll finish up with how to actually submit your reimbursement. So let's start with rationale. One of the questions you may ask during this policy is, why are we so stringent? Why do we have limited amounts of funds for different things? And the reason is because we get funding from the national government, and the national government, they kind of do audits of all of the things that we spend money on. And when we're spending money, we need to be able to tell them exactly where the money went. That's why we have so many codes for different things. Another thing is that we have a limited budget. So each institute costs us about $2 million. And as we're looking over the budget and trying to figure out how to allocate the money, we figured that it's better to spend smaller amounts on travel and more amounts on things that are actually student-facing or core member-facing, or even training for you. So one of the reasons why we have small amounts of money budgeted for certain travel items is because we need to make sure we can allocate and expand our funds as far as possible. And your third question may be, why do you have so many deadlines? The deadline is such a tight turnaround to turn in reimbursement. Well, the answer is because we actually have partners with the finance team and the payroll team in order to pay the reimbursements back to you. And they have internal deadlines as well. So we ask that you get your reimbursements back to us as quickly as possible so that we can turn them over to our finance team who codes them, and then ultimately over to payroll to pay you your money back. We want to make sure that you get your money back as quickly as possible. So hopefully that gives you a little rationale for our summer staff reimbursement policy. Now let's talk about what you can actually get reimbursed for. If you turn your directions to the screen. So when you look at this circle here, these are kind of the things that we consider travel expenses for you to come to our conferences. You have to go to the airport or to institutes if you drive. Then you have some baggage, you may have food while you're there, and then you have to travel back to the hotel. So to look at these things, that means that you're traveling to and from your city. We may have to pay for your taxi to the city or your parking. You're then paying for meals if you ate breakfast or potentially if you eat dinner that day. A bag, we only pay for one bag when you're taking in luggage. And if you don't see something on this list, feel free to reach out to your MIS. What don't we pay for? If you look at this picture here, we do not pay for cell phones. We do not pay for alcohol or smoking cigarettes. We do not pay for tickets. If you're driving one of our rental cars over the summer and you get a ticket, we cannot pay for that. We also do not pay for office supplies. And I know this is a hard one because you may have a special pen that makes you so much more effective, but we cannot pay for office supplies this summer. And finally, if you have to rent a personal rental car, we cannot pay for that. We have already put into our budget an expense for any enterprise cars that we get over the summer, but we cannot pay for personal rental cars. Take a look at this list again. And under no circumstances, none, do we pay for an item that does not have a receipt. If you do not have a receipt and if it is not itemized, you cannot get reimbursed. And there's no exceptions for that rule across all institutes. So again, let's review this list of things that you cannot get reimbursed for. All right. Now let's talk about how you actually submit your reimbursement. So the policy is different depending on if you're on full-time staff or if you're not on staff with Teach for America. So if you're on full-time staff with Teach for America and you're also working at Institute, you can submit your reimbursements through EMS, or our expense management system. The things that you'll need to change on that EMS is the function code, department code, the transaction code. You'll change those things to fit the conference that you're actually going to. And then you'll submit it to your MIS for approval. let's take a look at a picture of that. So if you see here on the right-hand side where it says function, department, cost center, and then also transaction code, you'll change all of those things to fit the guidance that we give you for our conferences. Then when you submit the form, you actually change the manager to the MIS. Now let's talk about if you're not on full-time staff with Teach for America. If you're not on full-time staff with Teach for America, then you'll submit a reimbursement form or a mileage form if you traveled in your own car. You'll complete each section of the reimbursement form with the function code, department code, transaction code, the same thing that I listed before for the full-time staff. You'll also take down all of your receipts to white paper, and you'll mail that form to your MIS. Let me show you an example of what this looks like. So the reimbursement form is in Excel, and if you look at these three tabs at the bottom, the first tab is guidance, so the same things that we're talking about is in this first tab. The next tab is reimbursement form. This is your actual form that you'll submit with your receipts for us. And this third tab is mileage. This mileage tab helps you calculate how much we'll reimburse you for driving. And you'll submit this mileage form along with the reimbursement form with your receipts. So let's go through quickly what the different things are in the form. Here you'll put the date of the expense. You'll also put a small description of what the expense was for. This description should also be written on your receipt. You'll put in the amount, and then account code. Account code is actually a code for what the item is. So, for example, it'll tell us whether this is food, luggage, a cab, etc. The function and department code, this tells us what budget to pull the money out of. So if you're traveling for Houston Institute, it'll tell us to pull it out of the Houston Institute budget. Transaction code tells us what conference this item was for. So whether it was leadership conference or all-staff conference or half-staff conference, this transaction code tells us where you spent that money. Finally, you'll sign the form here. You do need to print the form and then actually sign it with real ink. Also, let's take a look at what the receipt will look like. So, as we told you before, you'll write a description on your receipt and you'll tape it down to white paper. The white paper can be scratch paper, just use the back of it, and we do need the receipts to be in chronological order, so put it in order by date. Finally, you'll see here that I only taped the receipt on 3 sides. Writing is pretty close to the edge here, so I didn't put tape here. That's kind of an important but small tip. Finally, you'll send all of your receipts to your MIS. So if you're on the Houston Institute team, please review this address. I'm in the Dallas office, so you can send email or mail to me there. And deadlines. The deadline for submitting and postmarking any receipts is 7 days after the conference. So you'll see here that I have listed out the different deadlines for each conference. If you're not on the Houston Institute team, please check with your MIS to see what dates and deadlines she or he expects you to send your receipts in. So now let's review next steps. Remember to save all of your receipts. Any information that you don't understand, check out the guidance document from your MIS. That'll either be posted on the Google site or she may have given it to you at a conference in your welcome folder. Any additional questions, again, please reach out to your manager of Institute support. We are here to help you. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck this summer. Please send us any questions that you have.